So we're a climate change think tank based in Fitzroy. We've done work on zero emission solutions for Australia across different sectors of the economy. So we started with stationary energy, given that stationary energy underpins all of the other things going on in the economy, and stationary energy, essentially our electricity system, is around 50% of Australia's emissions. So we thought that's a really important project to start with. And then if we can get a zero emissions electricity system through renewable energy, then we can essentially have zero emissions buildings with the energy and electricity that buildings consume. We can have high-speed rail powered by 100% renewable energy. We can have electric vehicles powered by 100% electricity, and so on and so on. So we launched this, our Zero Carbon Australia Buildings Plan, in August of last year. It's now been out there for about a year. I've got 3 copies for sale, but I'll ask people to just flick through those as I'm talking, because you'll see the level of detail in those reports. We're a volunteer-based organisation. We get funding from philanthropic organisations and also supporters, baseload supporters. And we believe this project here and the book that you'll see is probably the largest crowdsourced research project in Australia. We had over 190 volunteers and contributors to that report. If you look in the first few pages, you'll see the different types of individuals and companies and experts that contributed. So quite a powerful document. Took 3 years to do, and then we finally launched it in August last year. Now what's happened is, after we launched that report, we've had a whole bunch of people, including householders and companies, say, we want to help you implement this plan. It's a plan for zero emissions buildings in Australia. We show in that plan how it can be done. And then we've had so much interest in the plan and how we can implement it that we've launched a new initiative called Energy Freedom. And that's what I'll touch on now. So these are our 2 reports, and we've actually released a high-speed rail plan as well in the last few months, and that was on TV a couple of nights ago with Rove and those guys, and that was quite a lot of fun to talk about the high-speed rail project with them on the project. But our first report was a Zero Carbon Australia Stationary Energy Plan, which shows how we can move to an electricity grid based on 100% renewable energy. And then the Buildings Plan, which shows how we can have zero emissions buildings in Australia, both residential buildings and commercial buildings. So the Buildings Plan found a number of interesting points. Firstly, that Australia can achieve a 53% reduction in residential energy use. We can have around 31,000 megawatts of rooftop solar. We can achieve a 44% reduction in non-residential energy use. And all of this initial investment can be paid off through savings on energy bills. So what is energy freedom? Energy freedom is essentially retrofitting existing homes. It's not about building new homes to be energy efficient. It's actually about taking Australia's existing building stock, retrofitting it to become zero emissions and increase energy efficiency. It's about switching away from gas, because gas is a fossil fuel, and I'll talk a bit more about gas, but gas is a fossil fuel. It's expensive, it's becoming more expensive, and obviously any fossil fuel that is driving any appliances in your home means you will never get to zero emissions. And then through a range of energy efficiency measures, you can reduce your energy consumption. Then you put on your standard solar PV system on your roof, and lo and behold, you become energy free. So what does it feel like? There are all the environmental benefits, but most importantly, we achieve comfortable homes. We achieve high performing homes. These are the homes that everyone wants to live in. And for those of us who've lived overseas in Europe or Canada or the US, we know what those kind of buildings are compared with often the buildings that we have in Australia. We can achieve zero emissions buildings, and we can be independent. We can be free. We can be autonomous in terms of our energy consumption and production. So why no gas? As I mentioned, it's a fossil fuel. There are a whole bunch of environmental issues. So when you're consuming gas, you're essentially consuming coal seam gas, which obviously has a whole range of local environmental impacts. And we're seeing a lot of destruction around the Australian landscape, particularly in Queensland and New South Wales with coal seam gas. It's expensive, and we've all seen the protections of gas prices. Who's actually put in a ducted gas system? I was sold. I put a ducted gas system in 10 years ago. I was sold on the fact it was cheap, it was clean, and it was natural. It's none of those anymore. It's no longer cheap. It's not clean, and it's not natural. And there's a whole range of more efficient electrical alternatives, which I'll touch on later in the presentation. So why energy freedom? We can firstly reduce our personal impact on climate. We can avoid using coal seam gas. We will have protection from energy bill price hikes, no more bill shock. We'll be comforted from the winter cold, comforted from summer heat waves, and we'll be secure and invest in our most important investment, which is the home. So as I mentioned, this isn't about building new energy efficient buildings, although that's very important. But this is about taking our stock standard 3-bedroom brick veneer home in Melbourne or Sydney or anywhere around Australia and retrofitting that through a whole range of measures to become zero emissions and energy free. So how do we do that? This diagram, we've got an infographic in the book. You can see it in a lot more detail, and apologies for the size of the font here, but obviously the key things are lighting through installing LEDs, fabric upgrades through insulation, draft sealing, draft proofing, double glazed windows or triple glazed windows if you can, space conditioning, hot water. So hot water is around about 30% of our energy consumption, so a really important one. And we're recommending heat pump hot water in the buildings plan because it's highly energy efficient and much more efficient than gas. Same with cooking. A lot of people say, oh, you know, I need gas for cooking. In fact, there's a lot of switching away from gas for cooking now into induction cook stoves. And these are becoming more and more popular for a whole bunch of reasons. They're efficient, it's instantaneous heat to your cooking appliances, and it's also safe. You can touch it with your hand and you don't get burned. Whole range of energy monitoring measures through in-home displays and other things, because we're all essentially driving blind on our energy use in the home. It's not until the end of the billing cycle that we get the bill and we go, holy dooly, did I use that much energy? When you've got in-home displays, it's instantaneous feedback. You switch off appliances and you literally see the monitor on your wall showing the decline in energy consumption. So you can manage instantaneously your energy consumption in the home. And appliances, a really big one. Moving to energy efficient, high efficiency electrical appliances over time. We're not recommending go out and change all of your electrical appliances tomorrow or today. We're saying when your existing appliances break down, then you go for the highest efficiency replacement. And that's been modelled on the Top Runner program in Japan, where they've achieved remarkable energy efficiency achievements or improvements over a 10-year period through running that program, the Top Runner program. So this is essentially the energy freedom story. It's a sequence of measures which shows how you can become a net energy producer in your home, not a net energy consumer, and therefore spread your payments over a period. The next thing you can do is your fabric upgrades. That's putting in your insulation, double glazing, and your draft sealing and draft proofing. And you can see a massive reduction in energy consumption from that step. So we heard that from Sarah again this morning, just how amazing reductions you can get in energy consumption from double glazing, insulation, and draft proofing. The third thing you can do there is your heating, ventilation and cooling. So moving to heat pumps for heating and cooling. And again, a fair reduction there in energy consumption. The next one is hot water. As I mentioned, hot water is around a third of your energy consumption in your home. So if you can sort that one out, then you're going to achieve some amazing reductions. And we're recommending heat pump hot water systems. There's a whole range of products on the market, including the bolt-on heat pump that Siddons has put out. Earthworker are promoting that product, and we've got Earthworker as one of our business partners as we roll out energy freedom across the landscape. The next big one, obviously, well, it's not a big one, but it will achieve some reductions, and that's for cooking, is your induction cook stoves, and then your energy efficiency appliances and your in-home displays. Now, through all of those initiatives, you essentially reduce your energy consumption by 3/4, which is pretty amazing. But what gives you energy freedom then is putting on a 4.5 kilowatt system on average, a rooftop solar system, and lo and behold, you go below zero. You become a net energy producer, not a net energy consumer. You become a renewable energy powerhouse, and you become free of energy retailers, free of energy bills, and autonomous, independent. So 9 steps to free your home. We've got a website, www.energyfreedom.com.au. For those of you who've got iPhones and other things, check it out right now. It's quite an interesting site. And on that site, we've got your 9 steps. So your LED lighting upgrades, your insulation upgrades, efficient electrical appliances, induction cooktops, double glazing, in-home displays, heat pumps, space conditioners, heat pump hot water, and then your rooftop solar. We're partnering with a range of businesses to implement energy freedom. So these business partners are essentially supplying the products, the zero emissions products, to our households. So we're essentially connecting homeowners and householders with businesses through information and product. So we've got Energy Matters, who do a whole range of solar stuff, including solar panels. We've got, and they're a Melbourne-based company, but they've also got a national presence. We've got Cherry LED, another Melbourne-based company who do the LED lights. And we've just signed up Apricus Australia, who do a whole range of solar hot water systems. And we've got Knauf Insulation, who sell the Earthwool product through Bunnings. We've got a whole range of other members too, but they're our foundation members, and I'll talk about the other members on the last slide. So LED lighting upgrades. Lighting makes up 30% of your average electricity bill. Your LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, and that's more than 20 years at 13 hours per day, and your investment can be paid back in as little as 6 months. Insulation can cut heating use by 80%, energy use by half, makes your home more comfortable by eliminating drafts and minimising external noise. Efficient appliances account for around 10% of your average electricity bill, and they use the most efficient electrical appliances, use only 50% of the energy compared to your mid-range products. So we really recommend going for the highest efficiency product on the market because it makes a big, big, big difference. Induction cook stoves are efficient, they're safe, they're easy to clean, they're responsive, and you get an evenly distributed heat. There's a range of master chefs out there now using induction cook stoves in their kitchens. It's not just householders using it, it's actually professional cooks who are using induction cook stoves as well. Double glazing, we've got a couple of companies assisting us with double glazing and triple glazing. And obviously you can reduce your heat loss and gain by 50%, reduce your heating and cooling costs, reduce your need for heating and cooling, reduce noise, and produce less condensation. In-home displays, as I mentioned, stop you driving blind on your energy use, energy consumption. They connect wirelessly to a smart meter, provide real-time information on energy use, instantaneous feedback on your energy consumption, and through that you can reduce your energy consumption by up to 10%, and you can provide peak pricing alerts. So
Obviously, when your peak prices are kicking in, you might like to turn a few things off, and you'll notice the difference in your energy bill. And you can connect these to your rooftop solar system. Space conditioners, 63% cheaper than gas heaters. Huge saving, more than twice as efficient as gas, because as we all know, with gas you get a lot of losses through your ducts, through your flues. We did some analysis which showed that your actual delivered heat is around 30% or less from the initial heat that's in the burner at the back of your house. So huge losses through your flues and vents and other things, and your ducts. Safer than gas, and can be timed to come on with peak energy generation. Hot water heat pumps, again, hot water is around 30% of your household energy consumption on average, saves you money and energy, low boosting power, and they're easy to install. And they heat water continuously and efficiently even when the sun isn't shining. So if you've got a house which is shaded, solar hot water rooftop systems might not be your best bet, but heat pumps will be, because they take essentially the ambient heat in the air and heat your reservoir of water that way. Rooftop solar takes you, as I showed you through that step-down diagram, to net energy production, and you can become a renewable energy powerhouse. So who's doing it? We've got a number of case studies, success stories on our website. The Keach family in Essendon, Victoria. Their home, before they went with Energy Freedom, consumed 46 gigajoules of gas and 33 gigajoules of electricity. They switched from gas to electric appliances. They did a whole range of measures which are on the screen, and what did they achieve? Their consumption dropped 3/4 from 79 gigajoules to 20 gigajoules. They saved over $4,700 last year on their energy bills. Pretty amazing. The Schultz family in Woolloongabba in Queensland, they've also joined Energy Freedom. They installed 3 kilowatts of rooftop solar, they insulated the ceilings and switched to electrical appliances. They're replacing all of their CFL lights with LEDs as they fail. What did they achieve? Rooftop solar is providing 84% of the household's electricity needs, and they've already reduced energy bills by more than half. So what could Australia look like if we all went with Energy Freedom? We could have 8 million homes in Australia which could harvest energy from the sun and be high performing and energy efficient. We've already got around 1.4 million homes in Australia which have solar PV on their roofs. Over the next 5 years, it's projected another 3.5 million houses at least will go with rooftop solar. That will make it 5 million houses, but let's go for 8 million. We'll have 31,000 megawatts of electricity generated from rooftop solar. And we'll have rooftop solar generating more than enough energy for every house. So what's next? Essentially, Energy Freedom is about aligning and providing householders around the country with information through the Buildings Plan and through our website, Energy Freedom, to give them the information to enable them to achieve these amazing reductions in energy consumption and move to high-performing homes. So what we're doing is we're encouraging householders to sign up and join thousands of other Australians who are doing this, and they can sign up at energyfreedom.com.au. That will enable us to, along with our partners, to be able to go to government and say there are thousands of households around this country doing Energy Freedom. These are the savings that they're achieving, these are the benefits for the community, and government should be supporting energy efficiency and renewable energy around the country. So by having thousands of households sign up, it gives us that community momentum to be able to really build some political movement in this area. So why would a householder join? Well, they'd gain access to information and exclusive Energy Freedom offers from our partners. They will be able to link with other householders and share experiences around how they're going and what they're getting out of it. We're doing a newsletter, an Energy Freedom newsletter, which will come out once a month, which will share some of these stories with householders, because we all know, and we saw from Sarah's slide, that people trust their neighbours and their families probably a lot more
than others, and so by sharing some of these stories with good stories, then we'll get more people moving in this direction. When you sign up, you'll get updates and tips on how to achieve energy freedom, and as I mentioned before, you'll add your voice to a community supporting home efficiency and renewable energy. As I mentioned, we've also got a range of companies participating in this, so you can become a member if you're interested. You might be a double glazing company or a lighting company, etc. And we've got 3 different tiers of membership. We've got foundation members, general members and associate members. And we're also hoping to partner with a range of other organisations. So we're looking to partner with councils. So councils have a range of emission reduction targets, for example. They are looking for ways to reduce their emissions across their councils. This is one perfect way for councils to do this. We would hope that councils can sign up and become a knowledge partner, no cost to council, but essentially a conduit for information through to their constituents in providing the information energy freedom through to their householders. So we'll get more people doing this. So our foundation partners are Energy Matters, as I mentioned, Cherry LED, Knauf Insulation, and Apricus Australia. But we've also got a range of other partners. So we've got 2 companies doing double glazing, that's Sustainable Construction Services and Windows for Life. We've got the Australian Glass and Glazing Association as an associate member. We've got Totem, who do the in-home displays, the smart meters in-home displays. And we've also got Earthworker, who do the bolt-on heat pumps. We're actually talking to a range of banks at the moment about financing options because we want this to be available to all Australians, not just middle class or upper class. We want this to be available to people who rent, people who are low income, and we're hoping by partnering with a financing institution that we can provide low interest loans and where essentially these investments in energy freedom can be paid off through energy bills and other things. We're also hoping to partner with an electricity retailer because there are electricity retailers out there who are supporting renewables, who are supporting energy efficiency, and we're hoping to partner with a couple of them who are really promoting the renewable energy target, really driving energy efficiency hard, but also allowing people to pay off these measures through their energy bills. So how? You can follow us on Twitter, Energy Freedom AU. We've got a Facebook page, and we've also got the website energyfreedom.com.au. I've raced through that, so might be some time for some questions.
Excellent. Got a bit of time. We're still running a little bit behind, but there's time for 1 or 2 questions. Anton?
Are you doing any lobbying as far as electrical company? I mean, like SBI's net that can't have more than 5 kilowatts of solar power?
No, not at this stage.
Because that would help if you want to go get things down.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I was only allowed to put 5 kilowatts where I wanted to put 15 kilowatts.
Yeah, that's right.
Won't let you.
I mean, what we are worried about, and I think it came up earlier this morning, is we are worried about if people do these initiatives, they lower their energy consumption and essentially they become autonomous and energy free, that there will be a backlash from electricity retailers to increase connection charges and a whole range of other things. So our answer there is batteries, because batteries are improving by the day. We've seen recently Tesla and Panasonic. Tesla's the US manufacturer of electric vehicles in the US. They're now setting up a manufacturing plant in Europe. Norway's going gangbusters with electric vehicles, and other countries are as well. And that's really driving major technology improvements in batteries. And the costs will be coming down. They already are coming down. But over time, there will be increasing incentives to actually go off-grid, even if you're in a city. We, however, think that there's a real opportunity here to enhance the grid. We can see all the benefits from solar in the heat waves. When we had the heat wave in February this year, solar actually enhanced the grid. Instead of paying instead of wholesale electricity prices being $4,600 a megawatt hour, as they were 3 years ago in the heat wave, they only peaked at $500 a megawatt hour. Now that was the role of PV,
because the PV was there during the day when everyone wanted their air conditioners on. So PV, if you are connected to the grid, actually supports the grid. It does all these amazing things to support the grid.
Brendan?
Look, I thank you for going down the battery question, because that's a no discussion one, especially with the electrical companies. But it is true that we will be in probably 5 years in Australia having standalone in economical areas where it's more feasible. The Amber Group is another one with liquid metal batteries. They're going commercial next year without subsidy.
That's right, and we are about, I don't want to steal too much of Tosh's thunder, because we are about to hear from Tosh, who's going to...
Those questions, please, because that introduces our next speaker very nicely. Thanks very much, Stephen.
Thank you. And please find one of those books that are floating around. And, yeah.